Panic spreads as Maine residents are infected with the world's deadliest disease, tuberculosis. I'm not going to bury the lead. TB, 10,000 people in 1 year infected in Maine. And they're saying that this is spreading across the country. Now, we've heard all this stuff about avian flu, the next pandemic, lockdowns, whatever it might be. And now I guarantee you they're probably going to come at RFK Jr. over this and find a reason to blame him. Check this story out. I mean, I don't know whether or not this is just the media being bored on a Friday and having nothing to report, or if we should actually be concerned about consumption, they called it. Fears are being raised in Maine after 3 people in the state tested positive for the world's deadliest disease. The patients were diagnosed with active tuberculosis, and there was no connection between them, suggesting each was infected by a different source. They're in the greater Portland area, officials said, and work is now underway to identify and isolate their close contacts. It comes amid an uptick in cases in the U.S., with America reporting 10,347 infections in 2024, the most recent year available, up 8% from the year before, the highest tally since 2011. But officials said the risk to the public from the latest infections was low. The World Health Organization considers tuberculosis to be the deadliest disease in the world because it kills the most people of any disease, claiming about 1.25 million lives every single year, mostly in developing countries. The disease has a high fatality rate, killing up to half of patients if left untreated or unvaccinated. That's far above the fatality rate for COVID. That's crazy. What, half? Below 1%. Measles, 10%. And Legionnaires is 10%. Tuberculosis was effectively a death sentence in the 18th and 19th centuries when there was no cure. Now, it can be prevented by vaccines and treated with antibiotics. TB killed more than 16,000 people in the U.S. every year since the 50s, but it's dropped significantly. I'm going to say it like this, man. I saw the story, and I immediately was like, I think we got a slow news day. I got to be honest with you. Everybody's views is going down, and people are resorting to shady tactics to try and keep those views up. But I see this story. I think it's worth talking about. And the more you read about it, the more it's like, if you're not getting the clicks, what you going to do? Now, Portland Press Herald breaks this down from a couple days ago. They say tuberculosis cases are on the rise in Maine. Lindsey Ham, spokesperson for the CDC in Maine, said the agency is aware of 3 active TB cases. Ham said the CDC is also identifying people who were in close contact with the 3 people who had contracted TB and screening them if needed. Many of you may be familiar with tuberculosis because of that movie Tombstone. And I got to pull it up. I got to pull up the famous scene. We're doing it. Here we go. Val Kilmer, dude, absolute legend. Let's get it. Doc Holliday.
Well. I didn't think you had it in you.
I'm your huckleberry.
Why, Johnny Ringo, you look like somebody just walked over your grave.
Dude.
Fight's not with you, Holiday.
I beg to differ, sir. We started a game we never got to finish. Play for blood, remember?
I was just fooling about.
I wasn't. And this time, it's legal.
Oh, this movie's so good. It's Friday. What do you expect? Come on. Slow news day. Let's have some fun.
All right, Lunger. Let's do it.
Can you call him Lunger? Doc, okay. If you don't know the reference, Doc Holliday, Val Kilmer's character, has tuberculosis. He is dying, and he's smoking, and he's coughing. Drenched in sweat and pale.
Say when.
Eyes are pink. to do it.
Come on. Come on.
All right. That's enough. Hey, guys, we're hanging out here. You know what I think? I think along with like everything else I've talked about, take it seriously, I guess. Make sure you're getting your regular checkups. But this is the top story. I'm pretty sure this is like the top story in the Daily Mail. Let's see if it still is. Yeah, look at this. The top story in the Daily Mail is panic spreads as Maine residents are infected with world's deadliest disease. There's no news anymore. There's no news. There is, so subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, of course. I got to say that more often. Subscribe. But go to YouTube at Tim Pool. Search at Tim Pool. I got a new channel. I got a video up talking about ElsaGate 5. YouTube sending insane, disgusting videos to kids. There is news. Things are happening. But with so many people living in the digital world, news organizations are desperate for content. They got nothing. So I saw this, and at first I was like, what could this be? And I clicked it, and it was like TB, and I was like, wow, TB on the rise. It's kind of creepy. You've got a lot of issues with mass migration, and I think the story they're missing is this. When you import tens of millions of people from the third world, you are importing tuberculosis and other diseases. And that's not my opinion. We've seen this from CDC data. I'd argue now that I'd be willing to bet a lot of this TB. It is people in close contact with recent arrivals and many illegal immigrants or otherwise, legal or otherwise, who have come here and they're bringing TB because we've largely eradicated this stuff. It's treatable. It's antibiotics. We're in for it, ladies and gentlemen. With population decline, mass migration, I don't know what the answer is going to be, but I will tell you this. Antibiotics ain't something you're going to be able to make. And if we don't have solutions moving forward, we're going back to the dark ages. I can talk to you about boats. I can talk to you, see the picture of the boats? I can talk to you about TVs, avocados, whatever, and say it's going to get hard to get these. It's going to be hard to get these things because of population decline. Antibiotics will be gone. I was looking up, I've asked this question before about what's something that is relatively hard to synthesize that you're going to need in the event of a, apocalypse or economic collapse. Something relatively easy to obtain right now. And antiseptics, we largely agreed on. There's probably something else. I mean, obviously food and stuff, but if society collapses for whatever reason, making alcohol to treat wounds or whatever isn't as easy, not the hardest thing in the world. But I was like, mouthwash, right? Toothpaste, I don't know. Toothbrushes, plastics, really easy and cheap to get now, hard to get if society crumbles. But I looked it up. Antibiotics. We are screwed. People don't understand. Antibiotics make it possible to get surgery. Seriously. So I got a dental implant recently. As soon as they wrap, they say, we're going to give you a massive blast of antibiotics. They're like, take all these pills right now and then go get your prescription and make sure you follow this because we cut your mouth open. Bacteria got in. You're going to get an infection. It's going to be bad. Take the antibiotics. Back in the day, tuberculosis was the death sentence. You would stub your toe. I'm being somewhat figurative, but you'd get it cut and you get an infection. There are people today who scrape their knee or get a cut and get infections. Antibiotics changed the game, and they are extremely difficult to synthesize. Individuals can't do it. So when we're looking at TB, I'm saying with resistant strains of these viruses because of the abuse of just everything, like people don't finish their antibiotics, the difficulty in producing, along with drug-resistant bacteria, means when civilization starts breaking down and population is crumbling, we're going to go back to you get a cut on your arm and you're like, I guess that's it for me. And they're going to be like, we got to, at least we know how to wash our hands. That's something. Back in the day, there were these doctors, they were like, hey, if we wash our hands, there's one guy. He's like, if we wash our hands, the mothers won't die in childbirth. And they're like, you're crazy. And then they figured out, actually, it was right the whole time. You got to wash your hands. Wash your hands before eating with your hands. How about that? I think we're in for something brutal. I really, really do. And forgive me for being so pessimistic, but I'll say two things. One, when the media is so desperate, they're running narrative headlines like this. The top story is that TB is spreading, and it's not really. We had it worse in 2011, so it's bad that it's coming back. I'll say this, though. Population is declining. And I had this debate earlier where it's like, no, population is going up. No. There's less young people. Bringing in adult immigrants and then saying population is going up is wrong. It's a spurious correlation. Young people, they are few and far between. So when we see this decline in population, along with an increase in tuberculosis, it means the percentage rate is going up. That's where things get scary. I'm going to wrap it up there, my friends. Smash that like button. Share the show with everyone you know. Subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see y'all tonight for Timcast IRL.